Hello and welcome back. This is candidate master Viktor Neustroev, and today we are going to analyze the study-like combination number 6. So chess etudes part 6. Look at this position. It's white to move, and your task here is to trap the enemy king and then force black to sacrifice the material or even checkmate the king. What do you think? Can you do this? Let's try. You may pause this video and try to find the solution yourself. However, I understand it's really difficult, and even the computer sometimes can't find the correct move. Okay, let's continue. What if, for example, here white plays rook f5 or some other moves? Then black can just play queen e8, attacking two knights. And after rook f6, queen captures on e8, the position is likely to be drawish. The best move for white in this position is knight d4. Check where the king goes. Let's analyze. So you see, in this position we don't analyze these two moves, king e1 and king e3, because then knight c2, winning the queen. At the same time, king d3 is a bad move because of rook h3, check, winning the queen. So that we should analyze only king d1 and king d2. Let's start with king d2. If so, then we play rook d5 with the idea to deliver a discovery check, like knight b5, attacking the queen and giving a check by the rook. How to play? Of course, queen e8 can be played. Then knight d6. Then, for example, king e3. If so, knight 4 goes to f5, check, king e2, knight goes to e4, and here the checkmate is very close. For example, king e1, and we play knight e3, king e2, and knight c2, covering these two squares. Then rook d2 is a checkmate. And I believe the best way he can do is just to take the rook on d5 or play something like queen a5. But then he loses because of the c-pawn, which goes forward. So this queen move, queen e8, is a mistake here. What if he goes to c1 to get rid of this discovered attack? Then knight d6, queen goes e3, still knight 4 goes to f5, queen e2 check. Then actually here white has some problems to solve to escape from this perpetual check. Oh, there is no perpetual check, but it takes a few moves. Like this, knight g3. So no more checks, and then white continues his attack. One of the knights goes to e4, then the rook comes closer. Let's go back, and king c1 doesn't work too. So we analyze king d2 move. What if now king d1, which is considered to be slightly better than king d2? What do you think about rook d5 with the same idea? Unfortunately, this move doesn't work because of queen a2 check. And after king goes here, queen c4, attacking the rook and the knight. This position is likely to be a draw. There is no good move with the knight because the rook on d5 is hanging. Okay, what if instead of rook d5 we take on the pawn on f6? If so, queen d3 attacking the knight, knight g4, threatening to play knight f2, and this knight is not really hanging because of rook d5. For example, queen d4, rook d5. If in this position queen c4, then of course knight e3. But after knight g4, king c1, and this is how just black escapes from all these threats, and on the next move he can capture any of these two pieces, the pawn or the knight on d4. So again, that's a draw. How to play after king d1? You won't believe me, but it's knight d6, just sacrificing the knight. Queen takes on d6. Rook d5. It's a very exciting position. Here, this queen is under attack. If queen takes on d5, he loses immediately, of course. But at the same time, there is no good square for the queen to move. For example, queen a3, knight b5. Queen e7, knight c6. Queen b8, still knight c6. Queen c7, knight e6. There are only two moves, queen b4 and queen f4. If queen b4 first, then knight c6, queen d2. He sacrifices the queen for a rook, but at the same time he wants to catch our pawn with his king. And here, if we take on d2, it will be a draw because the enemy king is too close to the c4 pawn. That's why first we play king to f3. He can't get rid of this pin. f5, knight e7. Actually, doesn't matter which move he does, queen b4 and queen e4, the solution is approximately equivalent. I'll show you. Queen e4, knight e6, queen d2. Yes, here rook d2 doesn't work. King f3, and he is able to catch our pawn. That's why we play king f3. If he takes himself on d5, then we promote a pawn. f5. How to play here? Does knight c7 work here? Looks like not. King c1, trying to get rid of the pin. Here, white has to take on d2. Knight d5, king d3, knight b6 looks okay because the knight protects the pawn, but unfortunately after king d4, king goes to c5 and our king is so far from the pawn, and the knight on b6 is unable to protect the pawn after king c5. For example, king f4, king c5. King takes on f5, king takes on b6. That's a drawish position. That's why knight c7 doesn't work here. Let's try knight g7. King c1 again. Rook takes on d2, king takes on d2, knight takes on f5. King d3. Knight d6, protecting the pawn. King goes to d4. King f4. The idea here is that in case if he pushes the pawn to b5, we take with our pawn, and we can save our knight with the king. In case of king c5, we immediately play king e5. So b5 is the best option. Of course, knight b5 doesn't work, we lose the pawn on c4. That's why only c takes on b5 is our chance. King c5, and just simply king e5. This is how we win. You may also ask me, what if king d5 here? What do you think? How white can win in this position? What to do with the knight? Because if the knight goes here, then of course king c5, and that's a draw. Where to move with the knight? In this position there are several good moves. For example, one of them is just to play knight e4, king c3 to protect the pawn from behind, and in case if the king comes closer, we may sacrifice the knight, because then we advance the pawn. But the most simple way is just to play knight c4. If he takes, then b6. If he doesn't take, then b6 anyway, and in this position he can't capture the knight because of the passed pawn on b6. Okay, so let's go back. That's a winning position, but only knight d4 wins here. The idea is to play rook d5 and to pin the queen and the rook, but here we don't take the queen immediately. He can't get rid of the pin. That's why it's better to spend the tempers by moving the king, f3, f4, and so on, to catch the pawn and to be able to reach e5 square to protect the knight. Thank you for your attention. If you like this study-like combination, please subscribe to my channel, add comments if you think that my solution wasn't correct, or you think that black or white could play in the other way, and maybe these complications should be also analyzed. Thank you for your attention.